Hello and welcome back to Literature with Jaisal. Today we are traveling to a world of knights, castles, plagues, and pilgrimages. The Middle English period of English literature, which lasted from 1066 to 1500. This is the period when English was reborn, shaped by war, faith, and the common people's stories. Historical background. It all begins in 1066 with the Norman conquest, when William the Conqueror from Normandy invaded England. French became the language of the rulers, while the common people continued to speak English. For nearly 300 years, England lived in two languages, that is, French for the court and English for the people. Over time, the two blended, and from this mixture, Middle English was born. But the story of this period isn't just about language, it's about struggle too. The Black Death in 1348 49 wiped out nearly a third of the population. Fields were empty, cities silent, yet from this tragedy came a new social awareness. The working class began to demand fair wages, leading to the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. The old feudal world was changing, and with it, literature began to change too, becoming more human, real, and English. The language. Middle English became simple and more musical. Old endings disappeared. French and Latin words entered, and English started to sound more familiar, almost like a modern speech. For example, HUS became house, CNIHT became night. Writers now used English to reach everyone, and not just scholars or the church. Early Middle English literature from 1066 to 1350. In the beginning, most writing was still religious. We find translations of the Bible, saints' lives, and moral lessons. But people also loved romances, like stories of bravery, courtly love, and adventure. One famous example is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, written by an unknown poet, often called the Pearl Poet. It tells the tale of Sir Gawain, a knight of King Arthur's court, who faces a mysterious green warrior to prove his courage and honor. This poem is part of the alliterative revival, a movement that brought back the old English style of alliteration in poetry. The birth of English drama. Now, one of the most exciting developments of the Middle English period was the rise of drama. In the beginning, plays were performed inside churches to teach Bible stories to people who couldn't read Latin. These were called miracle and mystery plays. Miracle plays showed the lives and miracles of saints. Mystery plays dramatized stories from the Bible, from the creation to the Last Judgment Day. Soon these plays moved out of churches onto the street. Guilds, who were groups of craftsmen and workers, began performing them on wagons in marketplaces. These were lively, humorous, and full of everyday English life. They also performed interludes. An interlude is a short intervening period or performance that comes between two longer events. Then came the morality plays, which were more symbolic. Instead of saints and angels, they used allegorical characters like everyman, good deeds, sin, and death to teach moral lessons. The most famous example is Everyman, where the main character represents all humankind and learns that only his good deeds will follow him after death. These early plays laid the foundation for what would later become English Renaissance drama and eventually Shakespeare. And now we meet the heart of the Middle English age, Geoffrey Chaucer, often called the father of English poetry. Chaucer lived through the Black Death and the Peasants' Revolt. He understood both the laughter and the pain of his time, and that's what makes his writing so real. His masterpiece, The Canterbury Tales, is a collection of stories told by a group of pilgrims on their way to Canterbury Cathedral. Each pilgrim, from the noble knight to the funny wife of Bath, tells a story that reflects their world and character. Through these tales, Chaucer gives us a living portrait of 14th century English society that was colorful, humorous, and deeply human. He also helped shape the London dialect, which later became the basis for modern English. Other important writers. Chaucer wasn't alone. Other major writers of his age include William Langland, the author of Piers Plowman, a dream vision poem that criticizes the church and society and speaks for the poor. John Gower wrote Confessio Amantis, moral tales written in English verse. The Pearl poet who wrote Pearl, Patience, Purity, and Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Late Middle English, 1400 to 1500. By the late 15th century, the world was changing again. William Caxton brought the printing press to England in 1476, making books cheaper and spreading knowledge faster than ever. Thomas Malory's Le Morte d'Arthur retold the legend of King Arthur and his knights, full of courage, love, and tragedy. It marked the end of the medieval world and prepared the way for the Renaissance. So that's the story of the Middle English period, the bridge between the old and the new, where English literature found its voice and heart. In our next episode, we'll move into Renaissance, the golden age of creativity, humanism, and drama. Thank you for watching.